Cockpit Resource Management, or CRM, has become a popular subject in the aviation industry. Although it was originally designed to improve crew coordination and efficiency for airline crew members, CRM is no longer limited to the airline, corporate, or commuter multi-crew environment. But what exactly is CRM? Basically, it's the method of making optimum use of the pilot's capabilities, the aircraft systems, and all available resources to achieve the safest and most efficient flight operations. In this program, we'll explore the resources available to you during single pilot operations, such as your personal resources of knowledge, skill, ability, and attitude, as well as external resources such as flight information publications, the pilot's operating handbook and checklist, and the airplane systems. For some time, the FAA has required applicants for practical tests to show competency in selected cockpit management areas. This applies to the private, commercial, CFI, multi-engine, and ATP practical tests. The subject areas here reflect mostly cockpit organization and safety-related items, such as passenger safety briefings and seatbelt usage. However, these subject areas do not fully express the total concept of CRM. In the past, instructors taught only the technical aspects of flying, such as short field takeoff and landing techniques, recovery from stalls, or cross-country procedures. This gave flight training a procedural orientation. Management skills such as decision-making, organization, and problem-solving were often missing from the training session. Some students may have been fortunate enough to receive such training, but typically it was covered only briefly and usually in one session. Today, perceptive instructors realize that for CRM to be effective, the training should be included from the beginning and reinforced throughout the training program. This way, the student can develop important CRM skills as well as essential pilot motor skills. Part of the CRM concept is using all available resources in the most effective manner. So, what resources are available to you during single pilot flight operations? You may not realize it, but you carry the most valuable resources around with you every day, namely your own knowledge, skills, and abilities. There's no substitute for knowledge. Aviation, as any pilot or aspiring pilot soon discovers, involves more than just piloting an airplane. There's a vast amount of information that every pilot needs to get around in today's airspace. Airport operations, proper radio phraseology, and meteorology are typical of aviation subjects that require specialized knowledge. Knowledge will also help you in times of emergency. For example, how well do you know your aircraft systems? Could you troubleshoot a problem in flight if you had to? Your knowledge of your airplane systems may prevent a minor inconvenience from turning into a major problem. As a student in training, you are constantly learning some new skill. One of the most important is radio communications. As a pilot, you often need to exchange information effectively and quickly with ATC controllers and flight service station personnel, as well as other pilots. However, communication skills involve more than just knowing the proper phraseology. You must also learn how to listen carefully, and then learn how to get your message across in the most efficient manner. The third personal resource that you have at your disposal is your ability. This involves combining your knowledge and skill and putting them to practical use. For example, making a go, no-go decision for a cross-country based on weather interpretation is an ability. There's one more important aspect of CRM that involves your personal resources: your attitude. The whole purpose of cockpit resource management is to enhance safety. You can be the most knowledgeable, skilled pilot in the world, but unless you have a safety-conscious attitude to match, you're as much a hazard as the less informed, less skilled pilot. Earlier, you were introduced to the 5 hazardous attitudes and their antidotes. Let's take a moment now to review them. Along with your personal resources, you have other resources available to you in the cockpit. For example, your checklist is a valuable asset that should be used for every phase of flight. In an emergency, it ensures that no critical items are overlooked. A current sectional chart provides you with highly detailed information to help you get to your destination. Your airplane's instruments and equipment can also help you reach your destination if you use them properly. Advanced navigation systems, such as GPS, require that you become thoroughly familiar with your particular unit. But once you know how to use it, you have another valuable resource. In addition to items in the cockpit, you have various external resources at your disposal. For instance, a call to FlightWatch can give you current weather along your route. If under radar surveillance, ATC can provide you with radar vectors around weather. If radar is not available and you are lost, certain flight service stations can provide a DF steer to point you in the right direction. You can read about these and other services available to you in the AIM as well as in other flight information publications. Now that you have an idea of what resources are available to you, let's put them together with other decision-making elements. Situational awareness is essentially knowing your condition, the airplane's condition, and your surroundings. A decision-making model known as DECIDE represents a logical method for solving a problem. The letters stand for Detect that a change has been made. Estimate the significance of the change. Choose a safe outcome. Identify plausible actions to control the change. Do something. Then evaluate the effect of the action. Finally, set priorities. During your training, your instructor may have introduced a short priority list, like aviate, navigate, and communicate. Let's try this scenario and combine all that you've learned so far. Assume you're on your way to your final destination, an airport in Class B airspace. You try to establish communications. Nothing. You try again. Still nothing. You need to make a decision. Situation. You're a few miles from Class B airspace and your radio is inoperative. Decide. Radio inoperative. Unable to contact ATC. Must remain outside airspace. Re-establish communications. Follow lost communication procedures. You turn to the emergency checklist. As you know, most general aviation aircraft don't have a checklist for lost communications. Therefore, you must rely on your knowledge of aircraft systems and lost communication procedures. Next, set your priorities. Clear the area and begin a turn to remain outside of Class B airspace. Now, you troubleshoot the radio and mic. Check the volume, frequency, the comm panel switches, the mic jack connection, and try the hand mic. Nothing. The last piece of the DECIDE model is filled in. No response. You decide to divert to an airport in Class D airspace. Quickly determine an approximate heading, ground speed, estimated time en route, and fuel burn to the new airport. Unable to establish communications. Squawk 7600. Using the recommended lost comm procedures in the AIM, check the area for traffic and determine the flow. Assured that you're clear of traffic, join the pattern and look for light signals. You see a flashing green light, meaning return for landing. Acknowledge the signal by rocking your wings. Shortly after, you receive a steady green light cleared to land. Again, you rock your wings. Perform your before landing checklist and prepare to land. Through effective use of your personal and external resources, you've made what could have been a serious situation into a minor inconvenience. In this program, we've discussed some of the resources available to you during single pilot VFR operations and some of the decision-making processes. Keep in mind that cockpit resource management is not a static discipline. Rather, it's constantly evolving, and all pilots can benefit from the increased safety it provides.